On a rainy evening in Paris, Johnny Depp wandered down a narrow street, seeking solace from the endless buzz of his fame. The city's usual vibrancy felt distant tonight, muffled by the steady tap of raindrops and the soft hum of his thoughts. His footsteps echoed along the cobblestone road, every step feeling like an escape from the pressures of the world. As he rounded a corner, something unusual caught his eye. A small bakery sat quietly on the corner, its lights dimmed, with a help wanted sign hastily taped to the window. It was the kind of place that most people would overlook, tucked between two grander buildings, yet something about it felt inviting. The unmistakable, comforting scent of freshly baked bread and pastries lingered in the air, pulling him closer. Without a second thought, Johnny stepped inside, unaware that this unexpected stop would change the course of his life and someone else's forever. As Johnny pushes the door open, the warmth of the bakery embraces him, a sharp contrast to the chill of the rainy Parisian streets. The bell above the door rings softly, and he steps inside, his boots tapping lightly on the wooden floor. The bakery is small, cozy, with shelves lined with fresh loaves of bread, pastries, and pies that almost seem to call out to him. But the place feels quiet, too quiet for the kind of bakery he imagines bustling with life. Behind the counter, an elderly woman with silver hair, Marie, is frantically kneading dough, her hands stiff with age and weariness. Her tired eyes glance up as he enters, but she doesn't say a word. At her side, a young girl, no older than 10, hurries to place a tray of fresh croissants in the oven. Elise has flour on her cheeks, her little apron stained with dough, yet she carries herself with a determined energy, focused and undistracted. Johnny stands for a moment, watching them. The lack of customers is almost palpable, the air heavy with the weight of their struggle. As his eyes scan the dimly lit room, his gaze falls on a small handwritten sign on the window that reads, "Help Wanted." He can't help but wonder what happened to this once bustling shop. Marie finally notices him, her face lighting up for just a brief moment of recognition. She's seen the pictures, but her demeanor is refreshingly grounded. "I'm sorry we're a bit short-staffed," she says with a faint, tired smile. "I can't afford help anymore." Elise looks up, her eyes wide but composed, offering him a warm, silent welcome. They don't treat him like the celebrity he is. There's no rush to fawn over him, no frantic pleas for autographs. Instead, there's an understanding, a quiet acknowledgement of his presence, and nothing more. Johnny feels the weight of their kindness in the air, sensing their quiet struggle more than the words could ever express. As Johnny takes a seat at one of the wooden tables, his curiosity grows. Marie's hands move slower now, as she arranges the last of the pastries, her face creased with exhaustion. She finally pauses, her eyes looking far away for a moment, lost in thought. Then, almost as if compelled to speak, she begins. "This bakery," she starts, her voice soft but steady, "was my husband's dream. He built it from the ground up. He poured his heart into every loaf of bread, every pastry that came out of this oven." She smiles faintly, though it doesn't quite reach her eyes. "He was the one with the vision, always talking about how he wanted this place to be a part of the neighborhood, to be a place where everyone could feel at home." Johnny listens intently, sensing that her words carry a weight much heavier than the flour dusting her hands. But after he passed, Marie continues, her voice tightening. "Everything changed. The customers started to disappear, the bills started piling up, and I couldn't keep up. It's been years now, and I've tried everything to keep this place afloat. I've even sold most of our family's belongings just to pay the rent." Elise, still busy near the oven, casts a glance at her grandmother, her face full of quiet concern, but she remains focused, sensing the gravity of the conversation. Marie takes a deep breath, her shoulders sagging. "And now," she shakes her head, the tears threatening to come but never quite falling. "Our landlord wants to evict us. He's given me an ultimatum: pay up by the end of the month, or we're out on the street." Johnny's heart tightens. He can see it all, the way the bakery was once alive with hope and now stands on the brink of collapse, a forgotten dream fading away with each passing day. And then there's Elise. Marie's voice softens even further, her eyes drifting to the young girl. "Her parents, they died in a car accident a few years ago. It was just me after that. I promised them I would take care of her, but every day feels like a battle I'm losing." Johnny is struck by the quiet strength of this woman, her resilience in the face of relentless hardship, the love for her granddaughter that fuels her every move. His heart aches, and he feels a deep pull to help, though he knows nothing can erase the weight of their reality. As the conversation lingers in the air, Johnny feels a growing sense of unease. He watches Marie's hands tremble slightly as she arranges the pastries, her eyes clouded with worry. Elise, too young to fully understand the weight of their situation, continues to work tirelessly beside her grandmother, her small hands moving with surprising speed. The bakery's struggle is tangible, and Johnny feels an urge to do something, anything to ease their burden. Without thinking too much, Johnny stands up and rolls up his sleeves. "I'll help," he says, his voice steady, though his offer comes out before he has a clear plan. Marie and Elise both look at him, their eyes wide, and then burst into laughter. "You?" Marie chuckles, shaking her head in disbelief. "You want to help here?" Her eyes twinkle with amusement, but it's clear that she doesn't take him seriously. Johnny grins, undeterred. "Why not?" he says. "I might not know the first thing about baking, but I can serve a few pastries and clean up. You've got enough on your plate already." Still laughing, Elise steps forward, handing him a cloth. "Okay, Mr. Baker, try not to burn anything." "All right," she teases with a mischievous grin. Johnny nods seriously, taking the cloth. He sets to work wiping down tables, setting things in order, and even trying his hand at serving customers. At one point, he accidentally drops a tray of croissants, but he laughs it off, quickly picking them up with a sheepish grin. Elise watches him, her eyes filled with a mixture of awe and amusement. As Johnny bustles around, doing his best to help, the door opens again and again. The small crowd begins to notice something unusual, a new worker at the bakery. Word spreads quickly, and soon more people filter in, curious about the man behind the counter. Some take out their phones, snapping pictures discreetly. It doesn't take long for the bakery to fill with life, and even a few fans pop in, recognizing Johnny but treating him as just another person behind the counter. The energy shifts. The bakery is no longer just a quiet, struggling place, it's alive again. And for the first time in a long while, there's hope. The bakery continues to hum with the sound of customers chatting and enjoying their pastries. All the while, Johnny works tirelessly behind the counter, serving drinks, clearing tables, and attempting to help out in the kitchen. Elise hovers nearby, her eyes bright with excitement at the unexpected turn of events. Marie looks on with a quiet smile, grateful for the help but still unsure whether this burst of energy will be enough to save them. Then, as Johnny is handing a cappuccino to a customer, he notices a woman staring at him with wide eyes. She hesitates for a moment, then whispers something to the person beside her. Johnny doesn't think much of it until the woman's voice rises just enough for him to hear. "Wait, that's Johnny Depp." The words hang in the air for a beat, and then it happens. The once quiet bakery fills with whispers, all eyes turning toward Johnny. The energy shifts instantly as people begin to recognize him, murmurs spreading through the room. Elise, grinning ear to ear, shoots a quick glance at her grandmother, whose face has gone pale in shock. Before anyone can process what's happening, a local journalist, who had been passing by on the street, walks in, camera in hand. He snaps a photo, his eyes widening, as he realizes he's captured the actor in the act of working behind the counter. With a knowing grin, he heads straight for the door, already planning his story. Within minutes, the photo is circulating online, and the bakery begins to make headlines. The local news picks it up, and by the evening, the bakery is trending on social media. Fans flood the shop, eager to catch a glimpse of Johnny Depp serving pastries and wiping down tables. The line stretches out the door, with people snapping photos, trying to interact with Johnny, who, though amused, still tries to keep a low profile. He's just a man helping out in a bakery, but the excitement around him is palpable. As the hours pass, the bakery that was once barely making ends meet becomes the talk of the town, the little shop now a sensation. Marie, standing in the corner, can't quite believe her eyes as customers pour in, their excitement bringing an entire new energy to the place. Elise watches in awe, her heart swelling with hope as she sees the flood of customers, the bakery's future suddenly brightened by a twist of fate. As the bakery buzzes with excitement, a man in a sharp suit pushes through the door, his face darkening as he takes in the unexpected crowd. It's the landlord, Monsieur Lefebvre, his usual stern expression now twisted with surprise. He stands at the entrance for a moment, watching as fans excitedly snap photos, the line of customers growing longer by the minute. Johnny, still behind the counter, notices the tension in the air, but he remains silent, continuing to serve pastries with a calm demeanor, his identity still hidden. Monsieur Lefebvre strides toward Marie, his gaze cold and calculating. "So this is what you've been hiding from me, eh?" He sneers. "This sudden flood of customers doesn't impress me. This won't last." Marie's heart skips a beat as she looks up at him, her hands trembling slightly as she tries to maintain composure. She can feel the weight of his words sinking in, the shadow of his threat casting a long dark cloud over the room. "You've had your chance, Marie," he continues, his voice dripping with condescension. "But I'm not going to wait forever. If you don't pay your rent by the end of the week, you're out. This little flurry of attention won't change that. I'm not interested in your fleeting success." Marie's face pales, and though she tries to steady her breath, the fear is visible in her eyes. She knows the danger that looms over her. Elise, sensing the change in the atmosphere, huddles closer to her grandmother, not fully understanding the conversation but feeling the tension rise. Johnny watches, his jaw tightening, but he remains silent, unwilling to speak just yet. He knows this isn't over. The next morning, after a night of restless sleep, filled with both hope and worry, Marie enters the bakery. The usual calm of the early hours is interrupted only by the quiet hum of the city outside, but inside, the bakery feels different, lighter somehow, as if the air itself has changed. As she begins to clean the counters, she notices something unusual, an envelope, tucked neatly on the counter. The handwriting is familiar, though she doesn't recognize it at first. Curious, she picks it up and opens it slowly, her fingers trembling. Inside is a single sheet of paper, a handwritten note from Johnny. Her heart skips a beat as she reads the words, which are simple yet filled with a generosity that takes her breath away. "Dear Marie, I can't let you lose this place that means so much to you. Here's a check that should cover all your debts and help you renovate the bakery. I hope this will give you the fresh start you deserve. Keep your dream alive. With all my respect, Johnny." Marie's hands shake as she holds the note, her eyes welling with tears. She never could have imagined something like this, an act of kindness, so profound, so selfless. For a moment she's frozen, unable to speak, as the enormity of what just happened sinks in. She holds the check up to the light, her vision blurry through her tears. It's more than enough to cover their debts and fix up the bakery, more than she could have ever dreamed of. Elise, who has been quietly watching her grandmother, suddenly jumps up and down with uncontainable joy, her laughter filling the room. "Grandma, we're going to be okay. We can keep the bakery. We can fix everything." Marie pulls her granddaughter into a tight embrace, sobbing with relief. The weight that had been crushing her chest lifts, and for the first time in a long while, she feels the bright warmth of hope. Later that day, a new sign is placed outside the bakery, "La Petite Étoile," the bakery that touched a star. The words shine brightly, not just in gold, but in the hearts of everyone who passes by, a symbol of resilience, kindness, and a dream that refuses to die. Months have passed, and La Petite Étoile is thriving. The once quiet bakery is now bustling with customers, the scent of fresh bread and pastries filling the air as people come and go. Marie and Elise, their faces glowing with newfound joy, greet each customer with warm smiles. The walls are adorned with photographs of the bakery's journey, and one photo stands out, a picture of Johnny, captured in his apron, surrounded by a sea of customers on that unforgettable night. The bakery is no longer just a business, it's a symbol of resilience, hope, and the kindness of a stranger. Marie often finds herself staring at the photo, her heart full of gratitude. She never could have imagined that one simple act of generosity would change their lives forever. The story of the bakery's revival has become legendary in Paris, a reminder that kindness, fate, and a little bit of magic can rewrite someone's destiny. What an incredible journey of resilience, kindness, and hope. Marie and Elise's story shows us that even in the darkest moments, a small act of kindness can change everything. It's a reminder that sometimes, fate has a way of bringing people together when we need it most. If you were moved by this story, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and leave a comment below to let us know what you think. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe so you never miss a heartwarming story like this one. Your support means the world to us. Thank you for being part of this journey, and we'll see you in the next story.